Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. When I was 14, my mom came out as gay and left my dad. He was heartbroken, but explained that nobody did anything wrong in the situation. I resented my mom and refused to do anything with her. My mom asked how she can make the situation better. I told her she couldn't. I refused to answer her calls and texts. When it was time for my high school graduation, my mom asked for an invite. I told her Lacey, my dad's new girlfriend, got it. She left a voicemail sobbing, saying none of this is her fault. Now, last week was my college graduation, and because it's a stadium, there were no tickets. So somehow my mom found me and had the audacity to show up with her girlfriend. My mom tried to hug me, but I pulled away. Her heart sank, and I saw tears in her eyes. She said she's sorry. I told her this isn't the time or place, and she's ruining my day. She asked if we could talk. I set up a time and place. So I went to meet up with her, and she told me that she couldn't change herself and that she was born this way. She asked how I can hate her for being gay. I told her I'm an ally and support the LGBTQ. I explained that I go to Pride every year with my little brother. I asked if she thought that's why I was mad. She shook her head yes. I explained the reason I'm upset is because she said she was born this way, which meant that she knew before she met my dad her final year of college that she was gay. I explained that she knew Dad was madly in love with her, and instead of turning him down when he first pursued her, she led him on, knowing she wasn't ever going to love him in a romantic sense. Then, on top of not leaving Dad early in the relationship, she got married to him and had 3 kids. She kept creating scenarios that would hurt more and more people as time went on. Our family is not against the LGBTQ, and everyone is accepting, so she wouldn't have been disowned or anything. I then asked if she knew she liked women, why stay with Dad? She said because she knew he could provide a good life for her. I told her she's even more selfish than I thought. I left and actually blocked her. My little brother told me she was hysterical over the phone. I don't care, but now she's coming by my house and asking to speak. My dad keeps telling her to go away. I heard that she'd broke up with her girlfriend, who messaged me on Facebook asking if I can forgive my mother because that's only how they'll get back together. Am I the a-hole? Her girlfriend is saying OP has to forgive her or else they stay broken up? What type of manipulation is that? OP's mom and her girlfriend sound toxic. I also don't understand why she thinks that breaking up with her girlfriend would solve a problem. Knowing your orientation and stringing this man along, creating a fake family because it's the right thing to do, is not the right answer and not the right thing to do. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. The more you seem to communicate with her, the worse she seems to get. Using a man just because he can provide, just so you can later turn around and walk away without even thinking about turning back before it's too late, means she's a massive a-hole. You're better off without her in your life. She's not a mother if she doesn't put her family and kids first. Not the a-hole here. Your mom is not a good person. She straight up admitted to you that she purposefully misled your father and used him for money and security. I wouldn't want that woman in my life either. She is a narcissist of the highest order. Not the a-hole. Sometimes you just have to cut people out. I can't make any clearer points than you've already made. Sounds like she knew pretty early on and chose to use someone. That's unacceptable. And her relationship with her new girlfriend, significant, isn't any of your business. I, 31 male, have been married to my wife Jessica, 26 female, for 5 years. We have a 4-year-old son. When our son was 2 years old, Jessica had an affair with her boss. That was the first and last time that I ever yelled at her. I completely lost my cool, and with our son at his grandmother and grandfather's house, I yelled myself hoarse at her. I had never been so hurt. Over the last 2 years, things have gotten a lot better between us, although I still can't deal with the thought of intimacy. And I'll be honest here when I say that I'm still hurt on a deep level. Last year, we put our son into kindergarten. My wife and I alternate between picking him up. One of the biggest benefits of this is that my wife has made a lot of new friends and become part of the mom group there, which I think is great. But early on, I noticed her mom friends giving me the side eye. Some would outright glare at me when they thought I wasn't looking. Well, on Tuesday, my wife forgot that it was my turn to pick up our son, and we both ended up parking in front of the kindergarten. She had arrived first and was already inside. I went in to greet her and surprise our son, who I thought would be psyched about having both Mommy and Daddy pick him up. I found her talking to the moms and quickly told her that it was my turn to pick him up. The other moms gave me the look as they usually did, but I didn't really care. About 10 minutes later, my wife was still talking to them and our son was getting restless. I asked her if I should just take him home or if she wanted to go too. He wanted to watch his mother's car from ours. She impatiently said, Okay, just don't yell at me again." At first I was confused, but when I saw the look on the other moms' faces, it hit me that the reason those mothers seemed apprehensive around me and were never friendly was probably because my wife had planted that seed early. She routinely brings up my so-called verbal aggression at home, so it made sense that she would bring it up to her friends to badmouth me. I stared in shocked silence for a few seconds and then responded, "What, did you have another affair with your boss?" Everyone looked shocked that I'd say something like that, so I shrugged and told my son we were going. My wife got home a few hours later, walked in the door, went to the bedroom and locked the door. The next day she yelled at me, ironically, and said it was my job to pick him up. Now, normally I'd not be asking this here, but yesterday one of the mothers pulled me aside and said it was a crappy thing I did to my wife. Was I out of line here? Not the a-hole. Your own wife is literally talking crap about you to strangers. You don't need to apologize for anything. She should be kissing your butt all the time since you forgave her for being a cheater. But I guess even when she's wrong, you're wrong. Not the a-hole, but y'all should get counseling or end things. You're clearly not over what she did to you, and she isn't over what you did to her. Either work it out or leave. Do it for the kids. Not the a-hole. She is preparing the ground for divorce by cooking up a story of how aggressive you are, vilifying your image in general, so that when the divorce happens, you are the villain and she is the poor martyr. While on vacation with my family, parents, brothers, significant others, and my spouse and kids. One night, over the trip, each couple would prepare a dinner for everyone. My brother and his girlfriend made pizza from scratch for their turn. It was good and had very spicy sauce my kids said they didn't like. It was hurting their mouths. I understood and went to make them something else. Drunk girlfriend Saul asked what was wrong. I said it's too hot and spicy for the kids. All three are under 7. Very good, not picky eaters, but can't handle hot spicy food. Think Frank's Red Hot sauce. Well, being drunk, as she is every evening, she walked into dining room, told my parents, my husband, and my siblings I was a horrible mother. I shouldn't have had kids to raise them to be spoiled. She went on to say while at the theme park, I let them have a jumbo pretzels for their lunch, and I should have given them a salad. When I heard this, I obviously told her off, said shut up, and do not tell me how to mother my kids, when she doesn't have any, nor know anything at all about kids. Next night, while drunk once again, tried to apologize. I said no thanks, sober up, and try another time. I don't have time for drunks. While my response made her cry and she didn't bother to try again. After returning from the trip, she has told my brother that I was banned from their house. It was my family cottage, in family for over 100 years, until my parents sold it to my brother when they retired. Still in the family, but I no longer have a cabin there. She was not in picture then, and the contract makes it very clear that the property cannot leave my family. So if they were to get married, divorced, she has zero claim. He told me this. I said whatever. Now, when he hosts a Christmas or Thanksgiving, I cannot go until I apologize to her for hurting her feelings and calling her a drunk. My parents and one of my brothers are now calling me an a-hole for wrecking the family holidays by continuing to not suck up and accept her apology and return one. My other brother is on my side, as he has heard her mouthing off about my parents before while she was drunk. I have said I will host these events, and my brother and the drunk are invited, but I will never apologize, nor will I pretend to like or be social with her. So, am I the a-hole for not kissing A to make the family all happy again? Edit. According to my brother, whom I talked to yesterday, she hasn't had a drink in half a year, but she also hasn't bothered to try and apologize while sober. I don't think she was ever an alcoholic, but whenever there are people around for the evening, she would have drinks. I have dealt with alcoholics and drunks in the past. I just don't waste my time on them anymore. I am too old for that nonsense and too much drama. Edit. For more backstory. Why I think I do know she drinks too much, and why I felt the need to bring up the cottage. My brother and her have been together for 12 years. The second time I met her was at my wedding, where my maid of honor and myself spent 2 hours in a bedroom consoling her crying and being drunk. Whatever, she was early 20s then. I cut her slack. But that wasn't a one-off, and it has always been like that. She cannot hold her booze. I believe my brother has also told her in past to stop drinking around the family, because she is an embarrassment. That only lasted so long. For people who say, "How do I know she is a drunk?" For over 8 years she would be at the cottage in the summer, and every night, starting just before dinner, would be happy hour. Everyone would have a drink before dinner. She would just continue for the rest of night. At Christmas, Easter, or Thanksgiving, the same deal, but with my extended family as well. I grew up living at the cottage for over 40 years every summer. My kids, husband, and myself had our own cabin on the property that we spent the summers at. My brother bought the property 3 years ago. First year, everything was mainly the same. Between the first and second summer is when this fight happened. Since then, I have not been there. Now, my brother says my kids are welcome to go, but I am not allowed. That's a big duck no. They are not kid people. They would need to be supervised on how to be around them. My parents and brother think I should take the high road and just forget what happened, but also never once said to her, "What the duck?" My youngest child, 4. She does not know who her uncle is because last time she saw him was around the age of 2. My 2 older, 7, 9, do not want to be near the girlfriend because she is very mean. Because she doesn't drink now, and she did attempt to make that one drunken apology. I don't like dealing with stupid people or drunk people. I ignore it and walk away. Before she called me a bad mother, I tolerated her. I was pleasant to her. I made small talk. Not sure if this matters. I am 45. Her and brother are 37, and we have a middle brother that is 43. He on my side with this. Answering a few points people have made. Yes, I probably do have issues with the whole cottage thing. It makes me sad I can no longer go there and that my kids can't enjoy it the way I did. Yes, I was never a huge fan of hers to start with. I have always found her to be annoying. But I was always pleasant to her, never insulting. I just never went out of my way to be friends with her. I probably could take the high road and move on to keep peace and make things easier for the whole family. But I really do not think I am the a-hole. Her original comment and her terrible apology were extremely hurtful, unwarranted. I have zero desire to waste my energy on a person who is like that. I managed to keep my unwanted emotions to myself over the years because I was always taught if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. OP is not an a-hole. She had some nerve insulting OP's parenting because her kids won't eat spicy food. Most kids have issues with spicy foods, especially if they're not used to it. It has nothing to do with being picky. And that comment that OP should make them eat a salad. She's shaming them and OP. OP can always tell her thank you for the apology. However, OP doesn't have to accept it, and she certainly shouldn't apologize to her. My boyfriend works at a higher-end women's clothing store. I really like the items they sell, but can rarely afford to purchase much on a college student's budget. The store is currently having a summer sale, which includes a substantial additional discount on items that are already on sale. Items that originally retailed for over $100 can be purchased for under $20. On top of this, my boyfriend gets an employee discount on anything he purchases. I mentioned wanting to go into his store to look around, but boyfriend offered to use his discount to pick up a couple of things for me as a treat, which I thought was really sweet. This weekend, I went into the shop while he was working and pointed out 3 or 4 things I liked that would go on sale this week and made sure he knew the correct size. I'm 5 foot 1 inch and under 90 pounds, so an extra small or double-lot petite usually fits me perfectly. I tried the items I had selected on in my usual sizes, and they fit great, as I'd thought. Boyfriend took note of the things I'd picked out and promised to purchase them for me with his discount this week. Yesterday, boyfriend came home with a shopping bag, and I excitedly started pulling everything out, but noticed that he'd gotten every item in a size small, or 2, about 2 sizes bigger than I need. They were regular sizes too, not petite. I was disappointed, but assumed he had just made a mistake. I thanked him for getting everything for me, but gently explained the issue with the sizes and suggested that he return them for the correct sizes today. His attitude after I'd said this seemed very strange. He explained that everything on clearance is final sale, which is understandable, but that he'd gotten everything 2 sizes bigger than my size because he thought my usual size might be too small. I can't figure out for the life of me why he'd do this. I'm a very petite person, and I wear my clothes in sizes that fit correctly, not way too tight or anything. Instead of being apologetic, he was very sulky and seemed angry with me. Although I had tried to express how nice his gesture was and explain the problem as nicely as I could. This morning, I brought up the issue again and suggested that, since the clothes couldn't be returned, I'd give them to my stepsister, who has a very similar style as mine, but is considerably taller, curvier. The clothes are her exact size, and she's starting high school this fall, so I'm sure she'd be thrilled to have a few fancy items to add to her wardrobe. I then suggested that I'd go into boyfriend's store this afternoon and purchase for myself the things I wanted in the correct size. He seemed very offended by this idea and wants me to resell the clothes to get his money back. From experience, I know that resale stores and groups generally offer very little for items, and rather than go through all that effort to recoup $75, I'd rather let a family member who I know will appreciate them have them. Boyfriend yelled at me, stating that he didn't understand why I couldn't wear the clothes and was wasting his gift, before leaving the house in a huff. This is such a silly problem, but I'm at a loss as to what to do and how to deal with my boyfriend. What do you guys think? I think OP needs to ask him directly what he meant by "your normal clothes are too small," because there is something going on here. If OP was vague about her size, I can see how this would be a misunderstanding. But OP was very explicit, and he seems to know he got different sizes than OP asked for. His reaction was also over the top. He needs to use his words. My only guess is that he thinks OP dresses too provocatively. No idea though. Any other ideas, guys? My mom and my wife have never gotten along. My mom is pretty overbearing and rude, and I take my wife's side every time. My wife loves the rest of the family though. My parents are pretty rich. My mom grew up in another country, dirt poor, and my dad grew up privileged, but nothing like the life he lives now. My mom is the epitome of someone who forgot where she came from. She makes snide comments about anyone beneath her, including us, and she can be super condescending. Like, my wife put her dish in the sink and filled it with water, and my mom was like, "Oh, honey, you don't have to do that. That's the maid's job." And like a cartoon villain voice. My mom used to be a waitress, but no one is allowed to talk about that. Last Christmas, my wife got my mom a decorative pillow which said, "World's okayest waitress," and my mom burst into tears. Even my wife felt bad because no one could have predicted she would cry like that. But she would not come out of the bedroom, and eventually we left. I was talking to my dad on the phone today, and he was on speaker, but honestly, I'm not sure if I told him. And we are skipping Thanksgiving this year for obvious reasons. But my dad said even if things got better for Christmas, we can't come. I was taken aback. And he said he is sorry. He knows that my mom is a lot, but he isn't going to have someone who made his wife cry come over for Christmas. I said okay, thanks for letting me know ahead of time, and that was it. Now my wife is mad I didn't defend her. I said it isn't about who is right or wrong, but it is his house. She says I still should have said something to her defense and not just said okay. While I understand OP's wife's frustrations with OP's mom, it was kind of a crappy thing to give her that pillow. Like, who does that unless they want to stir the pot? OP's wife made her bed, and now she needs to lie in it. I see no reason for OP to defend her after that little stunt, unless she has genuinely apologized for it. Both OP and his father handled this maturely and decently.